Dear brothers and sisters, it gives me great joy to be here at the Veggie Fest and have an opportunity to talk about meditation, the joys of meditations, the ways by which we truly can be in state of bliss, not for a moment but eternally. As we look at our lives, we find we all are seeking happiness and joy in our lives. And most of us seek it through wealth. We feel we have more wealth that will be happier. Many people seek it through relationships. And we find that if the relationships are well, things are going on well with ourselves and our family and relations, that'll make us happy. And then many times we find it through entertainment, whether it be entertainment that we go out to watch, whether we watch it in our own homes, whether it's sports that we're involved in. And many people also feel that maybe a position of power will give them more happiness. And what is very interesting is when we look at all of these areas, we find that these are very fleeting moments that we do get happy, but which are there just for a short time. Just like when you have water in your palm, it slips away. And just like when you have bubbles that you make out of soap, as kids we always made the soap bubbles. They're very shiny, they're beautiful, but then they burst. So joys that we think that we're going to get from the world outside are fleeting because everything in the world outside is temporary. It's for a short time. Might be a few weeks, a few months, a few years. It's not going to live forever. And when we tie ourselves with that which is temporary, then we find that the reality of the truth, something that lasts and lasts, we're never going to be homing into. And so as we start to think about eternal happiness, eternal joy that will last, our attention goes to the lives of those who provided that. If we look back at history, there have been saints and mystics who have been coming to this world in many different parts of the world. And after many of them, many great religions of the world started. And when we think about our religions, and whatever religion we might be interested in and what we follow, the faiths were started to give us happiness, to give us joy. And when we look at the life of the great saints and mystics, what is very interesting is the commonality of what they talk about. Then that commonality is a communion with God, experience of God, realizing God in our own life, being able to experience the joys of being with the Creator. And so when we try to focus our attention on that arena, we get to that side of our faith which is generally hidden. The inner side of our faiths, the side that brought joys into the life of those who were in contact with these saints from the past, that part to us is fleeting because we are focusing today only on the outer side of our faith, which is the rites and rituals. Each and every one of our faiths, we focus more on the rites and rituals, and we've forgotten what the reality of the teachings were. And when we dig deep in, all of our faiths talk about communion with God, meeting the Creator, being able to experience God. And we wonder if we can do that too. And so meditation is a means of being able to connect with the Creator. Meditation is a means by which we can take our attention away from the world outside and focus it within ourselves. Meditation is a means by which we can experience the joys and the bliss of the Creator which is there eternally. And so as we learn the techniques of meditation, and the techniques of meditation are embedded in each and every one of our faiths. They might be slightly different, but all of our faiths talk about communion with God, all of our faiths talk about sitting in silence. And if you would remember from when you were young, just these 5 words, you would know how easy it is to meditate. Most of us, as we were growing up, I'm sure we would have heard one of our parents tell us, sit down and be quiet. We all make rackets, we all run to all kinds of things, and our parents are always telling them to sit down and be quiet. That's all meditation is. Sit down and be quiet. Nothing else. Because it's the chatter of the world outside which distracts us. It's all the environment on the outside which brings stress and strain into our life. And as we get distracted into one arena or another arena, we then are so much embedded in that turmoil, then the reality of our existence never sets in. Kabir Sahib, one of the great saints from the East, he talked very beautifully about what a human life is. He says, our life is like that of a musk deer. A musk deer smells the sweet smell of musk, and it's very enchanted with that smell, so it wants to find out where it is. So it's running here to find the smell, it's running there to find the smell, running there to find the smell, doesn't realize the smell is coming from within itself. It's the same thing with us. We are running outside to be happy. We are running here, maybe if we go on a vacation, it's going to be great. We come back with the same troubles. And all the saints are telling us that all the joys are within ourselves. Because God the Creator is not sitting up in the sky, even though we think about the Creator being overhead. The Creator is within each and every one of us. And as we learn the techniques of being able to sit still, as we learn the techniques of being able to take our attention away from outside and put it within ourselves, then we can experience the joys within. Bulle Shah is one of the saints from the East. There's a lot of writings of his. He was a great searcher who was searching for God. So he's going from one place to another, and he's not finding anything that he thinks is good for him. And someone tells him there's a spiritual master called Inayat Shah, you should go to him. And he goes to Inayat Shah, and in those days, when a seeker would go to a spiritual master, they would put them in all kinds of seva like selfless service, in something to be helping the community. And so Inayat Shah was a gardener by profession, and so he put Bulle Shah to, put plants here and take them out here and put them here, move them here and move them here. And so a week goes by, a month goes by, and then Bulle Shah is thinking, I came here to find out about God, all I'm doing is uprooting plants and putting them here and there. And so he corners Inayat Shah and asks him, I came here to know about God, when I'm going to find out about God? And Inayat Shah started to laugh. He said, what's the difficulty of finding God? He said, just like you uprooted this one plant from this part of the garden, put it here, you need to uproot your attention from the world outside and put it within yourself. And so the key is to be able to focus our attention within, because inside of us is a fountain full of joy. Inside of us is our true self, our soul, our spirit, which gives life to the body. This body is lifeless if the soul is not there. This body can't operate if the soul is not there. What do you think happens at the time of a physical death? The body is the same size, nothing's changed in the outside of the body, but the power behind the body is gone. And it's that power which is our real self, and the power that we need to home into, and it's the power which is a part of the Creator, it's the power which is full of happiness and joy. It's a power whose innate quality is that of bliss. And so, as we connect with our real self, as we learn the techniques of meditation, as we go within, we are going to connect with our real self. And that's where the joy comes from. knowing who we are, realizing that we have a connection with God, and recognizing that God is there with us each and every moment of our life. Why are we happy when we go to a places of worship? We could have all kinds of problems in life, and we go to a place of worship, we feel peaceful, we feel calm. Why? Because we feel the presence of God there. If we can feel the presence of God in our life on a daily basis, how much happy would we be? Because we would know that we are with God, we would know that the protection of the Creator is there, we would know that nothing wrong can happen to us, and even though we might not understand what is going on in our life, still we would realize that that is the best that we can be passing through. And so what is very important is to recognize who we really are, and that's where the joy comes from. What is the purpose of being alive? What are we supposed to do here? And are we doing the right things? Is a question that we all, face in our lives as we grow. So the key is to be able to recognize that this life has been given for us to know God. This life has been given to us to recognize the real self, and this is why the human body, out of all living forms in creation, is called the roof and crown of all creation. In the Christian scriptures, it's talked about in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In the Sikh scriptures, Kabir Sahib says, Awwal Allah Noor upaya, Kudrat ke sab bande, ek noor de sab jag upja. Kaun bhale kaun mande. So he's saying, in the beginning was God, and from God came this creative power. And that creative power, whether we call it Shabd or Naam, is the one that brought all creation to being. So he says, who are we to say this is high and this is low and this is good and this is bad? Everything came from God, everything is good, everything is one and the same. And that's the vision of the saints. And so as we start to realize the commonality that we all have, it is then that we start to lead our lives in a manner in which there's humility, in which there's selfless service to help someone, in which there's compassion, in which we realize, hey, we all need to help each other, we're all part of one big family of the Creator. And that experience comes once first we realize that we're connected to each other. So how do we have that realization? It's only when we realize that we have a connection with the Creator within, that we realize that just like we can experience God within ourselves, so can everyone else. We look at people, we dress differently, we speak differently, our cultures are different, the foods we eat are different, the way we meet with each other are different, and so we think we are different. Not realizing that in reality we are one and the same. And so that realization, we can read about it, we can talk about it, we can hear about it, but nothing works in our life till we have an experience. And the experience of that unity comes as we sit in silence. So sitting in silence is not boring. Like when you close your eyes and you meditate and you're in silence, it's the recognition of who we are. And as we sit in silence and as we start to experience what the divine power is, the divine power that brought all creation into being, the divine power which is within ourselves, it's a journey that we take into the inner worlds, into the spiritual worlds. Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj, who wrote much about the spiritual path, he talked about this journey very beautifully. He says, Khak se taba kya kasha, humne to jab kiya safar, ish mila kadam kadam, hus mila nazar nazar. He says, when I traveled from the earth earthy to the heavenlies, I found love at every step and beauty in every glance. That the journey within is a journey of love, the journey within is a journey of beauty, and wherever there's love, there's happiness. Wherever there's love, there's joy. Those of you who've been in love in the world outside know how happy you are. They say madly in love because nothing else matters. Because when you're in love, everything is beautiful. Everything is happy and joyous. And so when we go on the inner journey and we experience the love of God, there can be nothing more beautiful than that. And the joys within, the exploration of the divine light and sound of God, which are two primal manifestations of the divine, which is what is the Shabd or the Naam or the holy word, which is talked about in all of our scriptures, that creative power. The more we experience it, the more happiness we get from within. The more happiness we get from within, the more happiness radiates from us. The transformation happens not because we heard something or we read something, it happens because we experience the joys within. And as we experience the divine light and sound of God, we get to a state where we are drawn towards God more and more and more. There's an anecdote that I'll leave you with, which, if you remember, would be it could guide you how God is always compassionate and is calling us towards God. But we get enamored by the beauties of the world outside, by the attractions of the world outside, and we forget about God. A person was going from one place to another in the old days, before you had GPS. Now you can put the GPS, you can get to wherever you want. But that's before those times. And so he had a map, but he got lost. And as he got lost, he ended up in the boonies, and he realized he's lost, so he's thinking of if there's a little stop over someplace, or someplace I can find out my way. And so he sees there's a side road going, so he takes the road, he ends up in a place where there's a house, and there's a lady sitting in a rocking chair, and he gets out of the car, and as he's trying to get to the porch where the lady's in the rocking chair, he hears whistling. He looks around and he sees there's a person working in the garden who's whistling. So he goes to the person to ask him about the way. And as he talks to him, this is where I like to go, the person gives him directions. And so as he's leaving, he asks the person, I saw you whistling and there's no one around here. Why are you whistling? And I'd just like to know. And the person says, you see, that's my wife sitting there in the rocking chair. And we've been married for over 40 years. And everything was very fine and alive, but last year somehow she lost her eyesight. And now she can't see. And because all her life she could see, now she's a very difficult time dealing with the situation. She's very afraid and she's very worried. And she would never come out of the house. And she's very worried if she'll fall down or something wrong will happen. So he said, I have tried my very best to get her out of the house, and I keep on whistling so that she knows I'm with her. The only reason I'm whistling is so that she realizes I'm with her. And this is what happens to us. We are lost. We are so entangled in the world. So God is whistling to us. You know, what is the Shabad? It's a vibration. Divine light and sound of God are the two primal manifestations of the divine. So as we go within, we see vistas of beauty inside and we hear celestial music. Music like we've never heard before. You know, we have all this music of this world. We have, all kinds of music. Reggae we were hearing yesterday, and jazz and classical music and rock and roll. But the celestial music makes all the music of the world pale in comparison. Because it's something which is coming from the Creator. It's something which the Creator is giving to us so that we attune ourselves and our soul, which came through this divine power of God, and we ended up in this physical region, can connect back and go through the spiritual regions and reach the abode of the Creator. So the key is to connect with that power within. I'd like to leave a very simple meditative technique for you. This technique is a purely spiritual practice. So it has nothing to do with the physical state of our being. Most people sit down to meditate. But even if we're not well, we can meditate lying down, we can meditate standing up. Most people like to sit down. We all have a one-to-one connection with the Creator, so there's no need to hold hands or touch anyone else, because if any part of a body is touching someone else, if they would move, we get distracted. So we want to reach a state of quietness. And so the key is to find a quiet place. It could be any place in the house. It can be meditating in the park. It could be any other area that you think is peaceful. So there's no noise, so our sense of hearing is not going to the outside. So we operate at the level of 5 physical senses. A sense of sight, a sense of hearing, a sense of smell, a sense of taste, and a sense of touch. And so we need to withdraw our attention from these senses, from the world outside, and put it within. So quiet place makes the sense of hearing get withdrawn. When we sit, like many of us are sitting together, now if we don't touch the person next to us, the feeling of touch is withdrawn. We're definitely not going to eat as we meditate, sense of taste is withdrawn. We don't need to change the atmosphere. Many people feel to meditate or to know God, we need to light incenses and all that. So that's not needed, because we feel that takes our attention into the smell and it'll take it on the outside. Because all day long we're not worried how things are going on normally. So we don't change the atmosphere, sense of smell is withdrawn, and we close our eyes, withdrawing our sense of sight. So by finding a quiet place, sitting down, closing our eyes, we've withdrawn our 5 senses. Just make sure when you close your eyes, don't raise your eyeballs up, because many people feel the seat of the soul, the single or the third eye is here, between and behind the 2 eyebrows. This is the gateway to the regions within. So they try to raise their eyeballs in the hope of getting there quickly. But we should realize that these eyeballs are made of flesh and blood. So their purpose is see what is made of matter, put impression on a retina, we send signals to the brain, we deciphers it, and then we act accordingly. So we close our eyes so that the outside environment is not bothering us. Keep our eyeballs straight so that there's no pressure on any part of the body. This is a technique of concentrating within, but in a relaxed state. Now, as soon as we close our eyes, the same thing happens to everyone. We are all bombarded by thoughts. Thought about the past, thought about our children, thought about the accountants, if you're going to have tax time, thoughts about meeting with the doctors, thoughts about the future. Any thought that you get is a distraction. The saints tell us that thoughts are coming from our mind. And so the techniques that are used in meditation all over the world are one and the same. We want our mind to get to a state of no thoughts. So what do? We focus our mind on God. We want to know God, and so people repeat. Some people repeat 1 name of God, some people repeat 2 names of God, some people repeat 5 names of God. People do repetition of God's name. And in this day and age, if you don't believe in God, you can repeat any name which is peaceful to you, which is calming to you. Now, as you repeat this name, don't do it out loudly. If you do it out loudly, your ears would hear it, you'll be distracted. So the key is to do this repetition on a mental level. Do it by your mind. And as you use the power of the mind to repeat God's name, it will not have the energy to send thoughts to you. It takes practice, it takes time, it doesn't happen in one day. But with practice, you get to a state where there are no thoughts and your eyes are closed. Right in front of you, light starts to spout forth. It could be flashes of light, it could be circles of light, bursts of light. Lights could be of various colors. It could be golden, it could be white, it could be red, blue, green, yellow, orange. So please keep your gaze in the middle, and with time what happens to you, it looks like the lights are stabilized. So what actually is happening is that as your concentration is getting better, you're seeing the light. The light of God is within each and every one of you. It's not coming from the outside. No one's taking a torch and putting in your eyes when you meditate. The light of God is within each and every one of us. When we concentrate, we experience the light. When we're distracted, we experience darkness. So with time, as the concentration improves, the lights to us are stabilized, and we have many, many vistas of beauty and of joy. And this is the journey of love that we experience. So please sit as comfortably as you can. Close your eyes very gently. Keep your eyeballs straight. I pray to God Almighty to help each and every one of us here connect with the divine power within and to experience the joys within ourselves. We'll be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting out of this meditative state, and my best wishes are with each and every one of you. Please leave off. Please leave off. I'd like to leave you with just one last thought. There was a thirsty man who was sitting next to a well. So he had a rope in his hand and he had the bucket in the well. And he's shouting, "Oh, I need water, I need water." But he never got any. It's only when he pulled on the rope that he could get the water. So our wellspring is within ourselves. The well of happiness and well of joy, which is eternal, is within ourselves. This is a well which is everlasting, which has no limits. We can draw from it. So our rope is meditation. As we go within, we are able to partake of all the joys and all the happiness which is available to each and every one of us. So I thank everyone for being here, and you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time and Veggie Fest. And may each and every one of you lead lives which are happy, which are joyous, and all good things be coming to you and your families. So thank you for being here.